Hi, my name is Tom and thank you for being here today. In today's practice, we're going to start on our mats, slowly working into our hips. Then we're going to come up onto our hands and our knees, working into our shoulders and into the backs of our legs. And finally, we're going to come into some stronger poses to get your blood pumping and you feeling strong. I hope that you enjoy this class, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel by pressing the red button, which should be down here. Let's get to it. Let's start by coming onto our backs and just bringing our feet flat on the floor. Bring your hips towards your heels and slowly roll your spine down on the ground. It kind of helps to imagine that you're elongating it onto the floor in one nice long line. Once you're down, take one hand onto your chest, one hand onto your belly. And let's start by taking 5 deep and long inhales and exhales into our belly and up into our chest. So breathing in, feel your hands rise up and breathe out to relax. Just take 4 more breaths like that. Breathe in a little bit deeper and imagine that you're expanding that chamber of your lungs a little bit wider and broader. Two more breaths. And after that last exhale, just gently lift your arms up to the ceiling and imagine that you're holding a brick or a ball between your arms, so keeping an even distance between those two hands. And as you inhale, I want you to press the back of your head into the floor and just lift your shoulders and your arms upwards, creating a space between your shoulders and the floor as you breathe in. And as you exhale, just release your shoulders back down onto the floor, keeping your arms lifted and extended up. Take 2 more breaths like that. So breathing in, lifting up, lifting those shoulders and those arms up, reaching up. And exhaling down. 1 more. Good. Take your hands behind you. Interlace your hands onto your elbows and let your arms hang above your head. Take 3 breaths here and think of breathing a little bit higher now into the chest to expand the region around the shoulders and the armpits. Breathe it in. Expanding and maybe feeling a stretch as you inhale. And exhale to soften. 2 more breaths. And then change the fold of your arms, so changing the interlace. Take 3 breaths here. Breathe in a little bit deeper now. Expand that chamber of your lungs. And take your final breath like this. Good. Take your knees onto your chest and give them a squeeze inwards. Take a big breath in here. And as you exhale, draw them in a little bit closer and tuck your chin up off the floor, bringing it towards your knees. As you inhale, relax your head back down and just loosen the grip on your legs and around your knees. Breathe it in, let your belly and your chest expand. And as you exhale, once again, draw those knees in, lift the head up off the floor and draw the chin towards the knees. One more breath like that. Cool, and then release the feet down onto the floor. From here, take your hands beside you, fingertips touching your heels. And what we're going to do is we're going to press the space underneath our rib cage, so it's kind of our upper belly area, down into the ground. And as we breathe in, we're going to press that part of our belly down in the ground and just lift our hips up off the floor. So you're not peeling your back up all the way off the ground, you're just drawing the hips up off the ground and pressing the back into the floor as you breathe in. And then squeeze the muscles of your glutes. And as you exhale, just relax your bottom and your hips back down on the ground. 2 more breaths like this. And what we're doing when we do this is we're gently practicing pelvic tilts, which is the posterior and anterior tilting of the pelvis. So as you press down and you breathe in, you're lifting those hips up and extending the tailbone away. And as you breathe out, you're relaxing those hips down. A little bit of an arch is created in that lower back. We're now going to take that motion and that movement a little bit further. Take your hands beside you, and as you breathe in, start the motion in the same way. So as you breathe in, you're going to lift your hips up, press your lower back down, but this time we're going to keep peeling our spine off the floor until we lift up into a bridge pose. And as you exhale, I want you to draw your belly in towards your spine. Imagine that you're sucking it close towards the back of your spine and you're rolling, or the inside of your spine, and you're rolling your spine down onto the floor, vertebrae by vertebrae. Cool, just do that 2 more times. So as you breathe in, you're lifting the hips up and rolling the spine up off the floor. And as you exhale, roll your spine back down on the ground and just draw the belly in towards the inside of the spine. 1 more like that, lift up a little higher. And exhale. Then draw your knees into your chest and just circle them a couple of times, neutralizing whatever's going on in your back. And circle the other way. Take a breath here. And finally, we're going to come into some passive twists before we make our way up. Take your arms into cactus arms, bring your knees to a right angle, and drop your legs over to the right side of your mat. Look towards your left arm and take 3 breaths here. Feel the twist in your body. See if you can breathe in just a little bit deeper, being mindful that your body and your organs are in a bit of a bind here. And then it might feel a little bit funny to inhale in fully. And then after that 3rd exhale, bring your legs back to that 90-degree angle at the center of your mat and drop them over to the left side. Look towards your right arm and take 3 deep breaths. Then bring your knees back to that central position. And from here, take your hands underneath the backs of your knees or the backs of your legs and rock yourself forwards and backwards a couple of times to kind of massage the spine. That's it. And when you're ready, make your way to the top of your mat. Just bring your feet flat on the floor. Take your hands onto your knees. And we're going to do a couple of seated cat-cows. So as you breathe in, draw your belly forwards Squeeze your shoulder blades together and reach your chest in front of you. And as you exhale, just let your back drop behind you and let your shoulders relax, draw your chin in. Just take 2 more breaths like that. And can you feel and notice how your hips are doing the same kind of tilting motion, that posterior and anterior tilt, as you flow in this cat-cow? Just notice what it feels like to do it in this position. Is it easier for you or harder for you than when we were coming up and down from bridge? 1 more round of breath here. Cool, and when you're ready, lift yourself back up to a vertical position. And from here, just draw your chest forward and squeeze your shoulder blades together to ensure that your back is nice and long and tall. And then we're going to lift our right leg up. Take your hands underneath your knees, then lift your left leg up. Create some active feet by drawing the toes back towards you. And imagine that you're pressing the heels away from you. And see how it feels to come up into this boat pose. And then to extend your arms out in front of you. And let's hold here for 5 breaths. Keep drawing your chest forward. And as you exhale, squeeze the belly muscles in. 4 more breaths. You can do this. I believe in you. 2 more. Maybe starting to shake here a little bit. 1 more. Good, and maybe your hip flexors are burning a little. We're going to cross our ankles over and relieve them a little bit by coming into a nice seated pose. When you're ready, just start to circle your torso around your hips to loosen out into those hip flexors and to feel a little bit of a stretch in your lower back. Take a big breath in. And a drawn out breath on the exhale. And then just change the rotation. So breathing in. And as before, just lengthen out that exhale. Good. When you're ready, come to that nice, neutral and tall position again. Bring your hands out in front of you, come up onto your fingertips, breathe into your belly and let it inflate out in front of you. Same thing for your chest, reach it forward. And as you exhale, imagine that you're bringing your belly button down to your legs. So you're really trying to fold forward and drop your belly down to your legs until you feel a nice stretch in your lower back. From here, tuck your chin in towards your chest. And today I'd like you to think of lengthening your spine out from the top of your head. So imagine you're reaching the top of your head up and away and reaching, and imagine that reaching is lengthening the space between your vertebrae and giving you a little bit of extra room to move and to fold. As you breathe in, reach a little further through the top of your head. And as you breathe out, imagine you've created enough space to fold down just a little bit. Take 2 more breaths like that. Reaching on the inhale and exhaling to soften. 1 more. Good, and then gently press into your hands and lift yourself up. Before we come into our yoga sequence, we're going to bring our feet together and we're going to move our feet a little further away from us, creating a nice diamond shape with the legs. Take your hands onto your ankles. As you breathe in, again, reach your belly and your chest forward. And as you breathe out, extend your belly and your chest forward, draw your arms down into your legs and fold yourself down. Find a nice stretch on the outsides of your legs. And from here, can you extend up through the top of your head again? So breathing in, extending, and breathing out, drawing down. 2 more breaths. When you're ready, gently press into those feet and lengthen your spine up. And from here, cross your ankles over, come onto your hands and your knees, and just step your right leg back behind you. Move the heel forwards and backwards to get into your hamstring. And then bring that right leg back in and extend your left leg back behind you to get into the hamstring. From here, what we're going to do is draw our right foot over to the right side of our mat and just plant our left heel on the floor. You're going to lift your left arm up, coming into this extended side pose, and you're going to reach your left arm up, turn your palm to face the front of your mat, take a big breath here, and as you exhale, reach your left arm towards the front of your mat. Good. If it's okay for your neck, have a go at looking up towards the ceiling and just take a big breath into the side body here, imagining that you're stretching the whole left flank of your body and exhaling to extend it a little further, to stretch it a little more. When you're ready, plant down into that right hand as well as the right knee and the right foot and lift your left leg up off the floor. See if you can hold here for a breath. Find your balance by pressing down more into that right hand and the left and the right knee and the right foot, and then take a big breath in. And as you exhale, bring your left elbow and your left knee out in front of you and try and bring them together. Inhale to extend the limbs and exhale to bring them together. Just try one more here. Breathe it in. Reaching, and exhale, bring it together. Cool, let's change to the other side. So I'm going to change direction so you can see me. From here, we're going to draw that right leg back behind us. Move the heel forwards and backwards. And when you're ready, just bring your left knee into the center of your mat and draw your left foot out to the left side of your mat. Plant your right foot down onto the ground and sweep your right arm up. Take a big breath in. As you exhale, turn your right palm to face the front of your mat and extend it forward. Good. Take 2 deep breaths here. Breathing into the right flank of your body and reaching a little further on the exhale. Good. Have a go at looking up to the ceiling. Take 1 more breath here. And after the exhale, lift that right leg up. Take a big breath in. Exhale, bring the limbs together. Inhale, extend. Exhale, bring it together. Inhale, extend. Exhale, bring it together. One more. Inhale, extend. Exhale, bring it together. Cool, come back down onto all fours. Coming back to the top of the mat. And from here, draw your shoulders beyond your wrists. Lower yourself all the way down onto your belly. Nice. Take your feet flat on the floor and press them down. And then take your hands behind you, interlace the fingers and reach your arms back as you lift your chest up. Exhale to lower yourself down. 2 more. Inhale, lifting up, press the feet down. And exhale, lower down, lower your spine down, nice and slow. 1 more breath. Release the hands, place them underneath your shoulders, power up into a plank as you breathe in. And exhale back to downward facing dog. Pedal your knees out left to right. And to stretch into the arms, our next little pose that we're going to do is a little bit of a flow. I'd like you to blow the feather off your mat. And then from here, gently lift your heels up off the floor. And think of reaching your hips up to the ceiling and imagine there's a rolling pin under your body, rolling you forward into a plank pose. That's it. As you exhale, press yourself back into down dog, imagining that rolling pin under your body, peeking at your hips and drawing them back behind you. Grounding your heels down. 2 more. Inhale, roll forward. Some have likened this movement to the top of a wave. So if that helps you imagine that rolling motion, that massaging of the spine, then you can use that. One more. You got this. Good. When you're ready, lift your left leg up, press the heel back behind you, and then bend your left knee and draw that left foot over to the right side of your mat. Think of a nice long line all the way from that left hand to the left knee, and extend those two limbs away from each other. And as you exhale, step that left foot to the top of the mat. And just step your right foot in a little bit, bend the back knee, and sweep your arms up. High crescent lunge. As you exhale, bend both knees and think of dropping that back knee to almost touch the ground. 2 more breaths like that. Breathing in and breathing out. And breathing in, lifting up. And breathing out. Good. Inhale, lift up again. And from here, just draw your hands to your lower back. Interlace the fingers, reach them back behind you. And as you exhale, coming into a humble warrior, we're going to drop that right heel to the floor and lower our torso down onto the inside of that left leg. Reach your arms up. Take 3 breaths here. Good. Release your hands to your lower back. And from here, we're actually going to step our hands to the top of the mat, step our right foot to the top of the mat, and come into a forward fold. Inhale up into your halfway lift. And exhale, bend your knees, forward fold. 2 more. And release your hands to the floor. And think of pressing down into your heels and your toes and gently lifting your hips up a little bit higher. When you do this, the backs of your legs are going to straighten out a little bit. And the point here is to feel a stretch in the hamstrings and in the back of the knees. Just go to a level where you feel comfortable, where you feel a gentle stretch. And take 3 deep breaths here. Lifting the hips, pinning those feet down to the floor, and breathing. Good job. Inhale to your halfway lift again. Reach out through the top of your head. And as you exhale, plant your hands onto the floor, step back into a plank, and take a deep breath in before you lower down. Come all the way onto your belly and onto your chest. Interlace your hands behind your back. Squeeze your shoulders together. Reach your hands behind you and press your feet down as you lift up. And as you lower down, just bring your spine gently onto the floor. Release those hands. Inhale up into a plank pose. And as you exhale, come back into your downward facing dog. Nice. Inhale, lift your hips and your heels up off the floor. And as you exhale, ground them down. Next breath in, lift that right leg off the floor. And as you exhale, I want you to bend your right knee and bring your right foot over to the left side of your mat. Take 3 breaths here. Find that nice long line from the right hand to the right knee. Breathe it in. And as you exhale, step your foot forward to the top of the mat. And then bend that back knee to almost touch the floor before you sweep both arms up into a high crescent lunge. Take a big breath in once you get here. And as you exhale, bend both knees, and you're almost drawing that back leg's knee to touch the floor. 2 more breaths. Breathing in, lifting up. And breathing out, sinking the knees down. Last one. After that third exhale, inhale to lift up again. And as you exhale, bring your hands behind you, interlace your hands behind your back, and drop your back heel to the floor. Take a big breath into your belly and into your chest. Reach your arms and your hands downwards, and as you exhale, move your chest forward onto the inside of that right leg into a humble warrior. Draw your arms up overhead and take 3 deep breaths. One more. On the exhale, bring your hands down to the floor, step your back foot to the top of the mat, and from here we're going to step our feet a little bit wider and draw the toes outwards while the heels are drawn in. We're going to drop our hips down towards our heels, take our arms onto the insides of our legs to come into a humble warrior, and take a deep breath here. And on your next inhale, bring your fingers to the floor and just take 2 more breaths with extended arms in this yogi squat malasana. So breathing in, lift your chest forward, breathe into your belly. Good, and on your next inhale, lift your belly and your chest forward. And as you exhale, lift your hips up and fold your torso forward and down. We're going to flow like that. So inhaling, drop the hips down, come into your yogi squat. And as you exhale, lift your hips up and fold yourself forward. One more. Breathing in. And breathe it out. Point your feet to turn forward to the top of your mat. Take a hold of your elbows. And from here, just sway your arms from side to side. Just feel the stretch in the outsides of your lower back. Take one more breath here. And then gently lower your hands down to the floor. Bring your feet together and bring your hips down towards your heels. And see if you can come up onto your tiptoes and just wrap your arms around your legs and draw your chin in. Take 3 breaths here, just practicing balance. And if you can't balance, if you find that you are a little wobbly here, you can bring one hand down onto the floor to stabilize you. 2 more breaths. After that third exhale, bring both hands onto the floor. Slowly roll yourself down onto your hips and then make your way onto your back for our last pose. Take your hands onto the insides of your legs and onto the outsides of your feet to come into happy baby. And you might like to try and extend very, very, very gently your legs to get a little bit more of a stretch in the underside of those legs. Take 3 deep breaths in and out. And once you've taken those 3 breaths, bring your feet together and gently release your legs down onto the floor. To rest your back, I suggest that you keep your knees bent with your feet flat on the ground, but if you'd like to, you can extend your legs out just the same. Then take one hand onto your chest, one hand onto your belly, close your eyes and take 5 deep breaths in and out here to wind the class down. On the inhale, breathe into your belly and breathe up into your chest. And on the exhale, slowly relax. And imagine yourself sinking down into your mat. Once you've taken your 5th exhale, if you do want to stay here, you can. Otherwise, begin to wriggle your fingers and your toes. And on a big inhale, stretch your body in all directions. And on an exhale, just bring yourself over to your left side. Just take a breath in and out here to rest and to just check in with yourself and how your body and your mind are feeling. When you're ready, you can press into your hands and bring yourself to a comfortable seat. And just come to the top of your mat. Sit yourself up nice and tall. And take a big breath into your belly, a big breath into your chest. And as you exhale, relax down into the ground. 2 more breaths. Thank you very much for joining me today. If you enjoyed this class, please press that subscribe button or leave me a comment below. It would be so nice to connect with you and to hear how you're enjoying these yoga classes. I hope to see you again. Namaste.